Ayy, this ain't a drill. Only time I'm playing is on the field. And when I'm on the field, no, I got mad skills. And you know we bout to eat this a fast meal. Y'all gotta pay for this heat like a gas bill. We keep on coming back, so yeah, they mad still. Everyone sick, make them pay with some bad bills. Red, white, and blue like Superman, so you know we eating at the Super Bowl. Kill the competition, set up the funeral. Josh Allen catching all the shots you go for. We callin' blitz. Ready to start, we ain't calling no quits. I'm the #1 draft pick. A lot of y'all talk, but I ain't hearing it. Only listen to Keyshawn and him. Talk about the Bills, dominating on the field. All our players got them skills. Buffalo gon' make a kill when we talk about the Bills, dominating on the field, and our players got them skills. Buffalo gon' make a kill.
What's going on? Welcome back to another live episode of the Post Podium Podcast, home of the all truth, no sodium takes. I am your co-host, Aramis.
40th of keys right here.
Ayo, dude.
Do it.
He ruined everything. It's like, just do it again. Do it again.
Hey, your producer in the building was good.
No, those ain't the fingers. Wrong fingers.
My bad.
There you go. Okay.
Okay.
Now everything is right.
Yeah,
Now we're good.
yeah.
Okay. Now everything is good.
Oh my gosh.
Yo, I'm still getting over that intro. All right, so we got a lot of good stuff lined up for everybody today. Hope you enjoy this episode, but we're gonna start this one off in a way that we haven't done in a little bit. We're gonna start off with stuff we heard. Key,
I haven't done that in a while.
I know it's been a minute. We usually get right to the nitty gritty, but I mean,
That's the best part, though.
mini
Okay.
camp is over. Cookton came back, and they, stealing all our stuff. Right.
cook.
Yeah. I know that's right, bro.
Yo, where's heel turn? I want that shirt. I'm not playing. I want that on the shirt. Let them cook with the little Elmo. I want that.
I wonder if there's any like copyright situations with that.
I will make it work.
For real?
I will figure out how to
I
make
might
it
be
work.
able to do it. I might be able to just
Yeah.
capture that and do it.
I'll figure it out.
All right, I'll put it
Yeah.
up on the site.
Maybe you'll put some keys with some hands. And let them cook. Himbo.
I got you, bro. I got you.
All right, so you kind of caught me here because my stuff we heard is all discombobulated. So I actually had a thought, and
Okay.
it actually might turn into a little mini rant. It's my turn now.
Okay, I'm with it.
It's really not a rant, but when I really thought about it, I sat down. I said to myself, "Self, how do you want to be remembered?"
Well, that's usually bad when you start off
I know.
talking to self
When you
by
say
saying
self, I
yeah,
spent a lot
that's
of time in
probably-
solitude. So, like self,
Yeah.
smelling jet fuel and everything. Like I'm getting a little lightheaded. But no, anyway, I said, "How do you want to be remembered?" Because I was talking to somebody in the Discord, and we were talking about market size, and I feel like I'm not gonna say who it was, but if you're in the Discord, you know who it is, and it's not even a jab at them, but it's just I feel like the actual definition of market size is a misnomer. People think that market size is determined by a team or the want to be on a team or vice versa, whatever the case may be.
in terms of other players, or
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
but see, what I was getting at when I said, we're a small market team is not that people don't want to be here, people don't know where we are. It's just that the economy in Buffalo is small. The population is small. So I looked it up. I said, you know what? Where do we rank for real? And it's not by money. It's just by pure population. We're second smallest. Green Bay is the first,
Right.
and we beat them by a robust amount. About 1 million people in the greater area. But still, you look at us and you look at the next couple layers up, and you're like, okay, there's a disparity.
right.
And so what I first started thinking was, I was like, what does it say about Buffalo? And what does it say about the people that represent Buffalo, i.e. the Bills? What do they always say? The Bills are what? The Bills are representing the city, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the city is what? Known for being a
Blue collar,
hard work,
hard work.
overachieving, just underdog city.
Yeah.
None of that is true. None of that is true. Now, okay, so I'm gonna back this up with some thoughts here. They say the blue collar, hardworking, loyal, they're close family knit, whatever. And I said, what Buffalo is that? Because he came in 2017, I believe, right?
Mm-hmm.
But that factory work left in 82. I wasn't even born when Bethlehem Steel closed.
Right.
And so I was like, okay, so before anybody asks me, because I gotta have my facts, because somebody can say you guys suck and you're negative and you don't know what you're talking about. I do.
Okay.
I do know what I'm talking about, because guess what? What is Buffalo's number one occupation? The job field.
The medical field.
Medical field, right? Healthcare, life sciences. Second, Financial services. Stop me when I get to blue collar.
Mm-hmm.
Third, high technology and research.
Yeah.
Fourth, education.
Yep.
Now this one, okay. Tourism and retail, maybe. You gotta you might walk around, you might do maybe. It's
Buffalo's
not behind a computer.
architecture gets lauded pretty highly.
So what do you notice in these? You notice that the city's no longer the second biggest generator of steel in the area.
It's all white collar.
This is all white collar.
Yeah.
And on top of that, what does that tell you? Life sciences, financials, high tech and research. That tells you what? That is innovative.
Mm-hmm.
That is abstraction. If you go into Elmwood, what do you see? Abstract. If you break the Metro Rail on the free part of Main Street, what do you see? You see a mural that says "Keep Buffalo a Secret." You see the lights of shades. You see all this entertainment district.
Yep.
You go into Allentown. What do you see? You hear music, the Lawn Fest. You hear all this crazy stuff happening. It's a place to clear your mind where nothing has to make sense, right?
Right.
But that's Buffalo.
Yeah.
So why is it that somebody can come in here and never have lived here before 2017 and tell you, you know what, this is what you guys are? Why is that? Because it's not, and it hasn't been for a very, very, very long time. You have the Ford plant, you got the GM plant, but that doesn't matter. See, the point is, what are we trying to align with here? We're trying to align with. He's trying to tap into the history. He's trying to tap into, the people that are here. But guess what? The people that are here are people that don't even remember things we remember, because between 18 and 64, the population dropped 20% in the last 10 years. 18 and under, it's about 2% less. 64 and above, it's about I think it's 1% less. So what I'm getting at is you're trying to tap into the history of the USS Sullivan. You're trying to tap into World War II, the War of 1812, the Underground Railroad, all that good stuff. Colored Musicians Club. That he doesn't name it, but he says we're a rich history, rich culture, but you don't know what the culture is. Because 18 and under doesn't care about blue collar. They're in the freaking Great Resignation, right?
Yeah.
They all quit. I know it. When I go to my work tonight, I gotta find out who else quit. When I log in on some other job in the morning, I find out, do we still have everybody?
Right.
How much PTO do they have? Back in the day, they didn't run through that stuff. But see, what it is McDerman builds a team in a fashion that, he brings in all these vets because they know what it takes to get where he wants to go, which is cool. But then you got to draft the young guys. The young guys are like, you know what? There's greener pastures elsewhere. I don't need loyalty. I don't care about that. I got a 401k. I don't have a pension, so to speak. In other words, your retirement follows you wherever you go. So I don't need to be here. You need to want me to be here.
Right.
You need to take care of me in a way that they didn't have to do it back when Fina and all those guys played. And so I think McDermott doesn't take that into account. And so that's what I don't agree with what he does. But I understand. I think he needs to sit here and say, you know what? Let me go out there and do a census again. Let me go out there and do a pulse check again. Let me go talk to who's really here. Let me go to Elmwood. Let me go over to Chippewa and talk to the drunkards as they bump into each other. Let me find out what the city really is about outside of around the stadium. I'm not saying he doesn't go outside there, but that's where he gets the pulse from. Like you talk about with the season ticket holders. It's the same thing with his sample size.
Right.
And I think he needs to venture out and what I want to see on the field is innovation. What I want to see on the field is abstraction. And this kind of bleeds into something I saw. I actually was listening to Overreaction last night. It was a Jerry Ostrowski show. And I didn't know about this, but I was so enthralled by what he said. I went on X and spent about an hour after work trying to find this footage. And for you guys that know that I'm a big defensive guy, obviously it has something to do with defense. So what it is what's this guy's name? Ryan Nielsen, the new D-line assistant, defensive coordinator, whatever. I had to take the pledge. I got to take that pledge.
On who?
On Ryan Nielsen. I got to take the pledge on the whole defense.
Really?
Because I didn't post it because I wanted to say it right now. What's up, Papa? Roy, Kev, Mark, Laura, Mafia. Oh, Tommy. I'm just going to call you Tommy.
Yeah,
stop it.
That's why I say Tommy.
I know, but I just read them and I don't think until later. Like, and Billy D, Colt 45.
Yes, sir.
And I was like, okay, what is this guy? What is Ostrowski talking about? What is this footage? And I look it up, and it's got Nielsen standing between two tackling dummies.
Okay.
And he's doing all, you can't hear anything. He's doing all the pointing at his hip and this, that, and third. And let me know when you guys have seen this video. But you know, what it amounts to is he's showing how to do a twist. He's showing how to run stunts extensively with Ed Oliver and Terrell Bernard. Like, so he was showing, you know, Ed Oliver, you feed it this way, so I'll jump, and then Bernard, you come and hit my hip. And so they did it, and he didn't hit him to his liking. So he said, all right, run it back. So they line back up. And next thing you know, Bernard just clears him smooth at the center, and Ed Oliver comes around the middle. Cool. So they said all the footage wasn't on there, but it, you know, they went through the whole D-line and linebacker crew. But they also said that he was working on blitzes.
Oh my gosh.
They said he was working on blitzes.
Oh my God.
This team was one of the least blitz teams last year. Look at my eyes. They're twinkling. They're twinkling. You see these? They're twinkling. Now, that's why I said I got to take the players.
Yeah.
But they said, you know, I think, who was it? Was it McDermott or Bean in his presser yesterday? He was talking about during the blitzing session. The blitzing session. Why do you need that if you're not going to do it? Are they going to blitz this year? Is Ed Oliver going to show you why Ed Oliver got paid what he got paid? I mean, I ran down in the Discord, you know, how the money worked out and what he was in terms of the league and everything like that. He got paid. He got compensated for what he's presented. Even though people don't believe it, he's middle tier, and he got paid middle money. You know, I think his cap is like 15th or 16th highest in the NFL, and he's about 13 by next gen stats. He's about 13th or so. But I digress. You're talking about using guys who don't have size for what they do. Ed Oliver is built for a twist. He's built for a stunt.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, of course you're going to sacrifice him sometimes to get Greg Rousseau open, get Daquan Jones. And by the way, I got to get in the gym because that man arms is Daquan. I was like, who is number 92? Oh, that's Daquan. Dang, let me put my long sleeve shirt on. Let me put this on because that ain't the math ain't math on this, man. Like, how do you forget it?
Right.
But yeah, you know, and I'm sitting there like, okay. You got three on the defensive line coaches. And who was it? Was it? I can't remember who it was, but Babbage. He was talking about how under McDermott, he's always had 3 or 4 defensive back coaches, which they have now. So I'm like, what are we doing? You know, are we going to see something more exotic with if Harrison's hamstring can check out? We're going to see something more exotic where we actually do run some man. You know, some men scattered in there where you're leaving guys out there, Christian Benford, to make a play. Are you gonna make a quarterback throw the ball faster now? What are you doing? So when I went through the DNA thing like that, and that was 2 days ago, I had the whole thing just mapped out how I was going to present it. But then when I saw that, I said, wait a minute, why would you spend so much time in somebody that just comes in and just works on this stuff if you're never going to use it, even a little bit? So it got me excited. But I said, pledge it up. Gotta do the pledge because when they don't come out and blitz on the first play of the game, I'm not gonna be mad. I'm gonna contain myself. I'm gonna bring it in. I'm gonna let it be.
So, I have a thought on your blue collar theory, which, by the way, I think flows completely in line with something that I talked about. This would have been like 3 months ago now, maybe, which was the job that the marketing team does. And I referenced a point in time where I was driving Uber and there was a lady that had come from a marketing company in New York City. And she was here to meet with the company and do a presentation. And she knew nothing about Buffalo. So she asked a friend of hers who was familiar with Buffalo, and she was just trying to get an idea for what's Buffalo about. And she said, give me, you know, like what are the top 3 things Buffalo is about? And they said blue collar, chicken wings, and football. Like that was it. That was it. Like when people who aren't familiar with here talk about here, the first 2 things is blue collar and chicken wings. That's it.
As long as it's not snow anymore.
I don't mean it's really.
It's like when you snow. They're like that's a foregone conclusion.
Yeah, but again, all of this is to say, and I love how eloquently you laid out the foundation of your point, because that's what the PR team and the marketing team for the Buffalo Bills launch their campaigns from, is that understanding. But I want to take it a step deeper, if I could, just for a second. When you think about how the Bills have operated, I'll say since Pagula took the job, they've operated more like a business than a football franchise, right? If you look at the moves, if you look at the attention to advanced analytics and all that kind of stuff, those are very business oriented perspectives and habits, right? So then you start to look at, okay, well, from a fan base perspective, which fan as an avatar, right? Those of you that know business marketing, you know what an avatar is. It's the person you're directing your sell to, right? Whatever product you have to come up with a sell, whether it's a tagline or whatever copy you choose to use, like that. You're directing it at this one person that you've kind of come up in your mind as the perfect customer for you, right? So the avatar for the Buffalo Bills, they're looking at that as, first things first, who's got the money, right? The avatar that's got the money is the baby boomer. Mm-hmm. That class in general has like something like 70-80% of the money in the country right now, right? So the Bills are looking at that. Okay, they got the money. All right, well, what's important to the boomer? Right. And for anybody in that class, forgive me, I'm not saying boomer in a derogatory, like from a derogatory standpoint.
Nah, man, they own that. They own that. Yeah. They be like, yo, I'm a boomer, son.
Right.
You millennials suck. I'm a boomer.
But so anyway, so they're looking at, okay, well, what's important to the boomer? Well, at that age, it's a lot more about what they've left behind as opposed to looking ahead at what's in front of them. You know what I'm saying? Nostalgia, reliving the good old days, memories, like all these different things that are a big part of boomer culture, so to speak, right? So when you think about everything that we hear about the Buffalo Bills and everything that gets propagated from the Buffalo Bills, tailgating. Why is tailgating important? Because it creates memories that you can have with your family. Right? Tailgating is something that boomers in general absolutely love and never want to lose. Right? Not saying
they do it the right way. They can remember their tailgates.
Right. We don't have this new class that's giving themselves CTE and concussions every weekend. Right. Right. And then jump through a table.
Right.
And have ketchup and mustard sprayed up their nose.
Oh man, he might be a boomer, Dono. He might be a boomer. Sorry, y'all.
So, but yeah. So I guess the picture that I'm trying to paint is, this is what the marketing team looked at when they decided who they were going to, market to in a sense, and who they were going to design this new stadium around. You can't tell me that there aren't a bunch of people our age and younger that would more than likely enjoy a dome stadium. Something with a roof, something that we can use year round, something that brings about a new sense of business and cooperation with society outside of Buffalo. Hey, you can have concerts here. Hey, you can have a Super Bowl here. I mean, the last cold Super Bowl we had was at MetLife. It was horrible. Everybody was cold. It was horrible. It was horrible to watch. Right. Mm-hmm. So this idea that, excuse me, everything has to be designed and built and focused around a culture that no longer exists here in Buffalo. Like, all the people that are taking these medical jobs are
younger than us.
Right, exactly. Traveling nurses coming and staying here making double what I make. Mm-hmm. Just to travel, just to be a traveling nurse. And not saying that that's like a easy position. I don't want anybody to jump to shoot it, darts at me for that. But no, don't worry about it. I ain't referencing no Tua here.
I missed that one. I'm scared.
So, but I guess the idea that needs to die is this idea that, like you said, the face of the city is old school and hard nose and high motor, and you know what I'm saying? That's the only way that the identity of the franchise is going to change, is when essentially the fans make it so.
Well, that's the crazy part about it, because if that's the case, the marketing team needs to die. Not individually like leave the earth, but they need to go away, because they're not doing their research at all.
You said who?
The marketing team.
Yeah.
Because you think about it, they're catering to who? Buffalo fans, right? Which we've established are usually 18 and under. You're catering to Rochester.
The boomer.
Well, no, the millennials. Because
okay.
the Rochester, they're catering to Rochester. Median age in Rochester is 33 years old. But what do we have access to that nobody else really does? Toronto, the largest city in Canada. That city is a Bills fan. You saw Joshua Palmer when he went to the Raptors games. They said they come down and watch the games. Guess what? Toronto's got money, millions and millions of dollars, and they're young. What do we see after COVID? We see YouTubers, day traders. These people are all, between, we'll say 20 and 35. People got money and I'm not gonna forget it. Do nothing really.
Yeah.
So what are you really looking? I mean, and the boomers they're not gone. They're not out of here. But that's not where the money is. The money's with these young up and comers. Look at all the gold they wear. They don't value money. Give them a shiny object. They gonna buy it. And that's what the marketing team hasn't tapped into. Because if you I think this ties in what me and Laura were talking about, me and it might have been Nate as well, or maybe it's Dorothy, I'm not sure. But it's still, I said, what is the nickname in Buffalo? And I said, Rough Buff. Everybody calls it Rough Buff, but the team ain't rough. The team is kumbaya. The team is, I love you, man. The team is, let's go to pizza at McGovern's house. The team, this is the team, but that's not aligning with we're the nickel city. We're the city of brotherly love. Mm-hmm. We're the Queen City. But the actual city, the people that know the city and actually represent, Rough Buff. If you ask the BSF and all those guys, they're not gonna say, "Oh, this is the city of brotherly love." No, they're gonna say
it's not the city of good neighbors here. Yeah.
No, they're gonna say this is Ruffalo.
Right.
So where the players is rough? Where are they out there? Sankey, come on now. Where are they out there? Yeah, right, Billy D. And I saw earlier, yeah, from your profile picture. I think Daquan did look kind of like you there. But yeah, no, you're talking of you're just missing the mark altogether, and you're building a enterprise that's not founded on what it should be founded on. If you're really marketing towards Buffalo and not what you heard, because last night I had a passenger come in, and obviously they only talk to me when they lose their bags, and so she's like, oh well, you can deliver it here, this and third, but what's open to eat at this time of night? And I'm like, well, I said, what do you want? I said, where are you from? She's like, San Antonio. I said, okay, cool. She's like, I want some tacos. I said, okay, there's a taco spot right down here. And it's not like Taco Bell. It's not Mighty Taco. It's authentic. Let me see what time it closes. I'm being, now we're talking. She's like, you know what? No, my boss told me we need to go to this place. She said, it's great. It's excellent stuff. I'm like, okay. She's like, yeah, wings. I said, okay. What'd they tell you? Anchor bar. I said, wrong. I said, everybody comes to the boat, they tell you that.
That's irrelevant now.
Right. Yeah. Somebody in Buffalo tells you, listen to what I'm telling you.
The one downtown on Main Street, on Main and North, gets so much tourism.
That's the original one.
Right.
Yeah.
But it's literally just off of just hearsay now. Like, because it's not even, you know what I'm saying? Like the Barbell, the Elmo's, like those places, they're busy. They're busy, mm-hmm. but they're not like Anchor Bar gets for what they are now.
Because everybody in Barbell and Elmo's and BBQ chicken, yeah, I can say that again. Those kind of places, they know, because they know, what is it? IYKYK, if you know, you know.
Mm-hmm.
See, you won't find those places on a pamphlet. You won't find those places, in Buffalo Digest. Because you went there for a beer. You say, let me get a side of wings. Yo, this is the truth. I'm coming back. Let me bring my friends. Aramis, Mac, wife, family. I'm bringing y'all because you got to try what I've had.
Yeah.
Barbell. We got to go there. Have you ever been there before?
No.
We got to go there. Excellent wings. Don't get the hot ones. The double hot. Don't do it.
Double hot?
Yeah, don't do double hot because it's a dry rub and wet. So it sticks to your mouth. This dude that I worked with, he was nuts. He couldn't finish it.
Heel turn for real. No one talks about Lenovo's because it's in the hood. Tourists ain't trying to go to over the ferry. It's still they fixed it up a lot, like on the side streets around that general area. But once you get to like ferry, even that street that's like right behind Lenovo's, it's still all kinds of sketchy. It's still all kinds of sketchy. Like you gotta have grown up over there to be able to just walk around over there just freely.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. People, when you're a fan of Buffalo, you're a fan of the Bills. Oh, it's a great place. It's I love it. I love it. We're doing this show from Buffalo. We are here. We didn't run. We're not in that major demographic. We're in that ambiguous mid area that everybody left.
Yeah.
All our friends. I got to get out of here. There's nothing to do. Why is there nothing to do? Because there's crime from you.
Right.
Well, now we're getting old, so it's not really us, but our kids, because it got passed down.
Yep.
But there is a lot to do in Buffalo. You just don't want to find it. You don't want to do it. And I learned that from my mom. And my mom, showed T, and then we kind of took y'all on a ride, and then now Ken, and so it gets passed down. But this is what you got to do. Any city you live in, there's always something to do there. I don't care where you are. It's always something to do, whether it's free, whether it's something that you can run, that you are kind of in charge of, is a self-driving thing. If it's a walk on the water, who cares? It's something to find. But Memphis, never mind.
Zoomer out like that.
Memphis. A quick story about that. I had to drive. We flew. Me and my dad flew to Memphis to go to his hometown in Mississippi. You got to drive 2 hours south, and that's the closest airport. That tells you how small the city is. Man, you ever seen Hustle and Flow?
Parts of it.
That's Memphis. No dress up. No dress up. As soon as we got out the airport is in the middle of the hood. We saw a Caprice sitting on like 24s, that like 86 Caprice, and we went to Church's Chicken. My dad's like, how you get to the 55? Like, you hit that thing right there. Like, my dad's like, wait, what did he say? I said, he said, let's leave, Dad. That's what he said. Let's go.
That's right.
Hit that thing right there. I'm like, this way, just go. But yeah, I mean, Buffalo is an excellent place to visit, excellent place to spend a lot of time. But if you're in that 21 to 25, you want to go clubbing, this ain't for you, because we don't do that here.
Yeah.
We do jazz, we do museums, we do arts, we do all the other stuff, not just go out there with bottle service with little sparklers, all that. Now we don't do that. That's just why would you want to?
Right. Yeah, this is not a turn up city, so to speak. It's a party city. Like the city loves to hang out and party and throw all kind of events and stuff like that. But it's not the how would you say it, it's got to be legal. So we'll say 21 to 32 range of people that just love to go out every night and party and hang out and be on the scene. Like we don't have a scene here.
I'll be sleepy.
Right.
I'll be sleepy.
Right. So from that sense.
I mean, when I really think about it, there's nothing with being tight-knit. There's nothing wrong with being tight-knit. There's nothing wrong with being happy that Bills are embodying positivity. There's nothing wrong with that. But at the same time, are we a city that we have blatant talent, and to tell us that we are overachievers, we're underdogs? No, that's a slap in the face. That's a slap in the face, and it's up for us to tell them, you know what, you can stay, but you need to go out there and do your research again, because you ain't got it together, and what you put on the field doesn't. I know they're winning.
Yeah.
I know that, but it doesn't represent me. I can't identify with it. If I'm watching, I can't identify with it. Like, those guys just don't look like they belong here. I'm not saying they got to be, be on the corners and doing all that, drinking quarter waters, all that. No, that's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is just like I said, this is a young city. Our team is older now. This is a innovative city. This is an abstract city, but you're showing me old school football. They're good at what they do, but what they do isn't what we do.
Right.
And that's what I'm saying. That's all I'm getting at.
Laura says Buffalo used to have the best clubs because they were open till 4 a.m. Now everything shuts down early because people don't know how to act. No, that's exactly right.
Mm-hmm.
That's exactly right. When I was in high school, there was a club up the street on Main Street from us called Mickey Rats.
Oh, Mickey Rats, yep.
And one of the dudes that I went to school with was up there and ended up getting stabbed. I think he almost died. I think he ended up living, but he literally almost died. Like, there was a lot of stuff back then, especially at that time. Like, I'll put it like this. I went to a house party.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this was the first and last house party I ever went to in my entire life.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And you about to hear why. So I get there, and this is like my sophomore year. So I'm on the step team, you know what I'm saying? I'm already in the singing group, I'm pretty popular around the city. We did a few shows and stuff like that. And so we get to this party, and our step team captain was like, "Yo, we gonna stroll, right?" And this is about an hour into the party. We out in the backyard, and there's mad people out there, like literally whole driveway full of people in the backyard. And there was some I think it was either some old dogs was up there or some Sigmas was up there, one of the two. And we was cool with strolling, like, they ain't nothing gang related and nothing like that. You can't get shot for strolling, right? So but pretty much for the most part. So anyway, we start strolling, blah blah, and literally as soon as we got done, we started walking up. We went in the house, grabbed some drinks and stuff, and somebody came up to me, is like, "Yo, you need to get out of here right now." I'm like me? Like, I'm looking around, like, ain't none of my people's with me, you know what I'm saying? Like, they all doing their thing. And they was like, "Yo, like, it's 30 dudes down at the end of the block waiting to jump you soon as this party is over." Right. And the party was over at like 1 a.m. or something like that. It's like midnight already, right? Or it's like 11:30. So anyway, I got lucky. My boy, the step team captain, his cousin was in the area, whatever. So he came, scooped us up, and we left. But we talking about 30, not just like 30 dudes from the neighborhood. We talking about GYC at the time. Like, GYC ain't the same now as it was back then, but like GYC back then was like
it was like that.
You was like that. Didn't mess with the boys. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, I never found out what the issue was. Like, it was just the fact that I was there or whatever. I don't know, right? But again, further proof that nothing good ever happened that night. It's too much poverty. Yeah, it's way too much poverty, especially at that point in time, because Buffalo was like at its lowest, quite possibly the poorest city in the country. Yeah, behind maybe what? Memphis. No, Jackson City, babies like that. Yeah, right. So
I got family there too, just so y'all know. Anybody in Jackson, I got family there, so I can say it. No, I'm joking. I do have family there.
Hermes just has that effect on people. I mean, I've been doing fine since. Yeah, I've been a lot of places. I ain't never got jumped, but
GYC is a place in the city you don't really want to go to.
Yeah, it's still, even now, like, you just don't want to be around that East Delavan area. Like,
they put me. That part don't bother me.
East Delavan?
Yeah, that part don't bother me.
Well,
that's
so
where I came up.
East Delavan, where? So East Delavan from Bailey to
between Bailey and Grider.
No, that
don't bother me.
Yeah,
and no, if you're talking about Cortland, that's.
I'm talking about
family over there too.
I'm talking about from Bailey north up East Delavan, all the way up to like anything between Fisher and Bailey is like, I just wouldn't.
Yeah, well, a lot of people shouldn't. That's all I'll say. A lot of people shouldn't.
Right. If you from there, it might be a little different, but not just anybody can walk around that area.
Yeah. I mean, you know, people know people. So
yeah,
that's where we'll stay. We'll keep it there.
Yo, for real.
But no, you know, and I already touched on that. But no, you know, if you're talking about and I'm glad you said that, because I put in there, I was like, how am I going to package the city's full of savages and we want to see that on the field? You know, I was like, how do I say savages? CP?
Yo, CP,
oh, you was over there with Pickway.
Yeah. Yo, what was the other one that was over there too? It was,
you had Murphy's, you had Pickway,
there was a joint with a bell on it.
Bells.
That's what it was.
Yeah. Bells. Yeah.
Yep. That joint was over there. Yo, one of my martial arts studios is over there too. Like, they was only in there for like a couple of months, but anyway,
that makes sense.
Bones, GYC is Goodyear crew. So Goodyear was the street that most of them grew up on. A lot of them, you know, grew up in that, you know, on that street and in that area.
And it bled into the neighboring streets too. So it was that was one of those deals where it's like, yo, and funny thing, you know, I actually worked at a place I actually had to do collections in that area. You know what I'm talking about. And before we fully stopped, dude was like, they ain't home. Like, all right. I knew what it meant because I'm from, you know, a couple streets over at third. Yeah. All right, cool. But the guy I was with, I know why they put me with these people now.
Oof. He didn't get the message?
No. He gets out the car. Dude's like, he ain't home. I'm like, He said he ain't home. He don't know where we're going. I said, that's the point. Wherever you're going, you aren't welcome. Get out. So this man stands out there. He doubles down on it. He pulls his phone out while a drug deal is going on right there. I'm like, put your phone up. And I'm sitting there like that. And I'm like, put your phone up. Put your phone. He's like, no, what? What? I can't. I said, do you know what's happening right now? He was like, well, I said, did you hear that? That little whistle? That means they about to converge. Yeah. We got to get in and get out.
Yeah.
And he had no situational awareness. And I'm like, I'm going to die right now. This is going to happen right now. They're going to take me down. But yeah, no. So obviously I made it. But yeah, it was a fun time. I drive a good year every day on the way to work. Yep. And just don't stop. No, you can stop.
No, I don't blame you for not stopping. Thomas said, I used to live down the street from Lenovo on 18th. I used to live on Congress right around the corner. So Grant Street, the fourth street up was some street that started with an A, and then you turn left down there, and the first street was Congress. I used to live over there for 7 years. My stomping grounds, unfortunately, was the Lakeview projects. Like the projects are still over there now, but they're more like townhomes now. They basically tore the projects down and built up some townhomes in the same spot.
Mm-hmm.
But that was my stomping ground. That's where I came up at. I lived over there my whole time right up until I was, I don't know, 10, 11 years old. And then I moved to Main Street. I was right over Main near Dewey for my school career leading up to the time I moved to Lockport. And then after Lockport, I came back and I stayed on Niagara Street, right across the street from the Armory.
Mm-hmm.
I went to School 3 over there. And then from School 3, I went to Bennett.
There you go.
Yeah. Yep. Beth says he walked up Bailey to Walden to Best Street school at 8 a.m. Ooh,
that's a long walk. It's very well, depending on where on Bailey you start, but it's still a long walk. But we walked. We were kids. We didn't know any better. We walked.
Oh yeah.
Now I'll fall apart.
What's the furthest you ever walked? I bet you I got you.
No, I know you got me. It wasn't that far. It wasn't that far.
So we I forgot what it was. We caught a ride somewhere over to the west side, and it was Front Park.
Mm-hmm.
We was at Front Park, and we had to walk from Front Park all the way over to behind Canisius College. So Blaine Ave, you know what I mean? Like that whole area over there. That was the long, like my legs I couldn't feel my legs like the whole rest of the night.
What about my legs?
For real. I never walked that far in my life, bro. Never.
No, I think I walked from Hurdle Military to Wyoming. From where? Hurdle Military to Wyoming. Hurdle. So yeah, we walked all the way up Hurdle to Main Street.
Wait, where's Wyoming again?
Delavan, between Stevens, Shuley, Northumberland.
Bro, that's about the same distance.
Okay, like I said, we were young, and it was snowing too.
Hurdle and Military.
Yeah, it was snowing too.
Oh, I used to stay on Sunnyside right up the street from there. So okay, so
right by Jasper Parish.
Yep. So Hurdle and Military to Wyoming. So what you would have had to have taken?
We went
straight
down,
up Hurdle to Maine.
Straight up Hurdle to Maine, and we turned down. Oh, what did we turn down? I can't remember. Was it Fillmore maybe?
Oh yeah,
Fillmore than Northland.
Take it right on Maine. Keep going straight down. Yeah.
And we were like 12. It was at the basketball practice. We missed the bus. We said, "Let's walk."
What time of day was this?
This is like 4:00.
Oh, in the evening.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we're all like 12. We're like, let's go.
But it can happen anytime, man. I told you what happened with the dude I was walking with. This was after basketball practice, and he had some J's on. I told you what happened. Oh my god!
I know where this happened. I know where this goes, but
So I might have told this story before, but so we were leaving basketball practice, and walking up it. So from Bennett, we was walking up towards the not the Amherst train. So what's the one that's over by the
LaSalle?
LaSalle. So we're walking up towards LaSalle, and we see this group of three dudes. They were already on our side, and they were just kind of walking down, and we didn't think nothing of it until we saw them start to like slow down and kind of, talking to each other and stuff like that. And, we was just like, what's going on with these, so we chilling, we just keeping an eye on it. You know what I'm saying? And, we start slowing it down a little bit too. So then literally seconds later, we see one dude running out the train station, running across the street. Then we see 3 more dudes running out the train station, running across the street. We like, nah, something is off with this. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, these 3 dudes, they kind of like stop in front of us, and they start asking us like regular questions, and I don't even know why we answering these questions. We don't know these dudes from a hole in the wall, but we slapped them up. What's going on, blah blah blah, and and so after they ask us about like 3 or 4 questions, one dude was like, Yo, I like them J's, man. Them joints nice, man. And literally right after he said that, the dude to his right swung off on my boy, hit him right in the shoulder. My boy just straight turned his head and ran into oncoming traffic. I'm shocked he didn't die, bro. I'm shocked he didn't die. The next thing that happened after, because we were in shock. We was watching the dude that swung off started chasing him across the street, like chasing him into traffic. He got away. You know what I'm saying? Right. But we all standing there watching this happen, and to see if my boy, his name was Doug, see if he got caught.
Right.
So we sitting there watching this in shock, and it's me and my boy Dre, and we kind of like realized where we was after watching all of this, and we was like, oh yeah, we still here. Y'all still here too, huh?
Let's go.
All right, gotta go.
Run.
Yo, we did it so quick, it wasn't even funny.
That's why, Mom, thank you. That's why I was raised on Pickaway and Payless. You want my Spaldings? You want my Spaldings? Huh? Take them. Mom, I got socks. She's like, I can get 2 more pair for $8. Don't worry about it. Man, to this day, I still tuck my watches just from those days. I don't, if you see me go like walking, you ain't never gonna sell jewelry on me.
For real?
To this day, you won't see it.
Wow.
I won't wear my nice watch, nothing. I gotta go watch the diamonds in it for 40.
Yeah.
Nope. Not if I'm walking, if I like when I gotta go downtown to get on a train, nope. Bare wristed.
Yeah.
And if I know I'm gotta park and I gotta walk down the street, nope, not doing it. You're gonna drop me off at the spot. Sprints. I had some Orangeman sneakers. They had the big Syracuse face on the side.
Oh,
Yep.
You had the team joints. Did you even know who they were?
Yeah, I knew they were.
Oh, okay.
And I was forced to have them. You ever got crossed up when you had Payless shoes on?
Bro.
You couldn't stop.
Yeah, they had no grip, bro.
You just kept going.
No grip. I couldn't believe how much grip they didn't have. It was really unbelievable, bro. It really was.
Nah, heel turn. I don't bring it. If I gotta do, he said, let everybody know, check my pockets.
Oh yeah.
Nope.
I'm letting you right now that was not pause. That they were talking about shoes. They were talking about shoes. So if anybody comes at me for not saying pause, they're talking about shoes.
Nobody got you.
Okay.
Fair.
I'm just letting them know, because folks in the comments like to come at me. No.
Yo, the Payless
talking about shoes.
The Payless slide was, and you know what's funny about this show? People gonna be, those guys are corny. They ain't talking about football at all.
I was thinking that this whole time, like, we ain't said one thing about football.
Well, it started with the Bills' identity.
That's true, but that's still not football related.
The Bills' identity. Who we put on the field though? No. All right, so I had another thought, and this one I promise for you guys that like that. Well, actually, it's 700 people in here. They didn't turn this off yet, so thank you.
They're being very, very nice right now.
But you know what? This is what we do. We rock. We talk about all things, and you guys, this comment section been going nuts. So this is great. Yeah, Laura, I was 6'6" in Spaldings. 6'6" and my ankles were shredded. But I had a funny thought, and I actually wanted you to get a sound bite, but it's too late. I was late to the show as usual.
Might be able to pull it up. Would you?
No, you can't, because it literally is.
It's a dead giveaway.
No, it's Ocho Cinco saying, "Stay with me now." Oh,
I'll make sure we get that.
Because everybody's talking about how the press conferences, this, that, and third going in. They're like, "Yo, I this is great." They're vibing, they're laughing, they're joking. Wouldn't it be interesting? Wouldn't it be fun? I put it in the Discord. Wouldn't it be fun? What would you do if they had crossover media days? what if there was a day where, say Mike Vrabel's getting interviewed by our press room, or McDermott's getting interviewed by a New York media, and they just got to do whatever they wanted. You couldn't leave. You couldn't, you could refuse to answer, but you're allotted 20 minutes. So in Buffalo, it's like, okay, he's not going to answer this. He's not going to answer that. I'm going to tread lightly. But what about other medias? Do they really care if you're going to, they poke you even further. They just prod you. They're like, no, you're going to answer my question. I'm going to ask it in like 9 different ways till you answer, or you just get fed up and walk out. Well, could you imagine Raheem Morris in front of they would love him. They would love him because he's kind of like McDermott in that sense. I love everybody. I'm positive. I'm this and laughing lighthearted, this, that, and third. There's always a morale thing, Mike Daniels, he'd be fun. They laugh at him all day. But who would care about what McDermott had to say? How much of that, I don't want to get into it, would really fly in other medias, other areas.
Let's see. Green Bay could probably get away with that. Forget his name at the moment. I'm trying to think of what other coaches have that kind of standing with their teams. Andy Reid could, but he typically doesn't. Yeah, I mean, most coaches don't. How can I say this? They don't show their closed off side,
right?
Like they'll find a way around the question that kind of gives you the feel that they're trying to do their best to answer the question. Whereas Sean McDermott is, we ain't talking about that. We're not doing it.
Yeah, and it's funny. I'm done being critical of McDermott. The reason why,
really,
this is why his pressers and stuff like that. I was watching the presser. It you know how YouTube does. They send you to something else.
Okay.
So it was called Writing to the Game with Sean McDermott or something like that. I think the guy from Channel 2 was in his truck.
Okay.
So he's sitting in the truck before McDermott gets in the truck, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, man, this dude's a type A as hell. He gets in the truck, like he's like, okay, I'm in here now. So he's like, all right, yeah. So he's like, so what's it like going to the game? Sit there, what do we do? He's like, yeah, first we got to call my mom and dad. I do that every day on the way to. I'm like, okay, all right. He calls his mom and dad. Don't you do it? I'm gonna call my mom tonight. As soon as I get out of here, I'm calling my mom. Shoot, we gonna rap.
But
Bro,
anyway, I have a terrible relationship with my mother. Can't do it. I'm sorry.
Well, I mean, my mom like, why? I call her. Because when you hit a button, it calls whatever the default is. My phone called a cell phone. First thing she say, why you call this phone? Call the house phone. I'm on the phone with you now. just write it out. But anyway, so he's on his phone. He calls his mom. Hi, mom. Hi, dad. He says it just like that. Hi, mom. Hi, dad. This is not for show. Because he's telling him, he's like, yeah, I get to this point on the road and I call my mom and dad. We usually go to the hill or whatever as I'm driving down. So, now he's talking to his mom and dad. His mom and dad are, so how's it going, son? He's like, yeah, I was just talking to the guys. We're going to have a great turnout for the fans. We're going to give them a good show. It's going to be a good They didn't ask him nothing about the experience. They said, well, good, and then like you hear, like, I think his mom was like starting to talk. He's like, oh, well, I got to go, mom. I got to go. Like, he's so regimented. Like, he gets to a certain point on the street. He has to cut it off. He's like, I'll call you after the game. They're like, well, give him hell, Sean. And it was funny because like his parents are like us, but him, he don't turn that off for them. I'm like, if he don't do it for them, we're screwed. So, so I didn't listen to. I don't think they had a segment where he was going home, but evidently he calls him after the fact. And when you listen to his press conference, I don't know if you saw his presser from 2 days ago or whatever the case may be.
I watched most of it.
Yeah, I mean, it was actually good because he never really said we're not going to get into that. He just answered. And what I really liked about his presser was when they asked him about the young guys versus old guys. He's like, look, you got the young guys might play, the old guys might play. That's it. Doesn't matter. He said, whoever's good enough is going to see the field. Guys, listen. And I don't know if you know, the real Sean came out because he's like, guys, he like stuttered, he stammered, and he just took this breath like, I'm sick of y'all, I'm off this man. Guys, okay, here it is. Young guys, old guys, all can get it. Basically, they all can get it. Whoever shows on the field is going to get on the field. He's like, we've done it for 9 years. We're not going to stop.
I can't believe I'm watching this right now. I cannot believe that second by second you are liking Sean McDermott more and more.
Well, if this was Bean, that'd be the story.
Well, so that's part of the reason I have a theory. Okay, I have a theory. Let me just start with that. We didn't see this Sean McDermott last year or the year before or any year before that. He wasn't this. The only time he was like this or close to this was right after the Tyler Dunn report came out.
Yep.
And that was because he was trying to change the narrative. He was trying to change the perception. But after Bean did what he did, everything that has come out with Sean McDermott has been him with this calm tone and this, you know what I'm saying? Whereas last year, this time, oh, FH. Appreciate you, buddy. Appreciate you. Thank you. Everything that came out last year of him was, this very matter of fact, like, business, like, dominant A-type person that like, this is what we're doing. This is what's going on. No, I'm not answering that.
Yep.
Like, this is what we're going to talk about. This is what we're not going to talk about. Mm-hmm. Floor is yours. Mm-hmm. Or before we start,
right.
you know what I'm saying?
First I want to recognize, get around the guy, and then
right.
Go ahead.
Right. Floor is yours. Like, you know what I'm saying? But now everything is just very I'm a nice guy. I have a family, a mom and a dad, and I'm really cool. And again, the drastic change in behavior. We'll just say behavior. Mm-hmm. All right, I can't speak to his personality. I don't know him personally, but
he's type A as ever. Right? He has to be.
Yeah, it seems like it. It definitely seems like it.
What's going on?
But again, the change in behavior when it happened says a lot, mm-hmm. because even in even in the end of the season press conference, he wasn't soft like this. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? It was the same Sean, very matter of fact, we got stuff to work on and, we'll get to work and we'll get right back to it next year and business as usual, blah, blah, blah. But then here Bean comes out and cusses everybody out, and the Bills, PR team, God bless them, they spun the mess out of that to make Bean look like the hero. Mm-hmm. But we haven't heard anything from Bean since, like, at all. Can we get a comment on what you think of these guys in camp? You've been out there looking at them. What do you think? Nah, we ain't getting nothing out of him. You know what I'm saying? Whereas in years past, we might get a few more during the offseason mm-hmm. about stuff going on with the team. Right. But Bean has been in hiding since, right? Because why? Because there are a contingent of fans that didn't like the way that he treated those radio show hosts.
Yeah. I was gonna say that's when it all fell apart.
Right.
That's when it fell apart.
So I think since that point, Sean saw like we gotta play crowd control like heavy here. You mm-hmm. know what I mean? We got to win as many people back over. And this, for any of you who haven't heard this theory yet, I posited a theory, I think back in March, that I think Sean and Bean are starting to separate themselves from each other. Mm-hmm. in the way that they talk, right? When you listen to the post-game pressers, it might have even been the end of February. When you listen to the post-game pressers and you listen to some of the stuff that they say, they use language that indirectly points the finger back at the other person. You know what I'm saying? For Sean to come out and say we need blue chippers, well, who's responsible for getting blue chippers? Mm-hmm. Right? When you listen to Bean talk, we understand that the issue is defense. Well, who's in charge of the defense? It ain't Babich.
Right.
He just calls the plays.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So again, all of this kind of filtered into or funneled into my theory that I think these guys are starting to try and separate themselves from each other in case they don't get it done again this year, especially with the schedule that we have now. You know what I'm saying? I think the writing is on the wall. They've just about fired everybody they can fire. They've just about gone through every staff person, switched out the trainer, the strength and conditioning person is gone. Like literally everybody that was there when they started is now gone. Right? So who's left?
Yeah.
The only two people that were there from the beginning. The only two people that have been the ones making the main decisions from the beginning. Right? So I think this is yet one more step in that direction of, well, I don't want to be perceived as being, in lockstep with Bean when he's, calling radio shows and telling them they're
and then didn't do exactly what they asked. Well, didn't do what he asked, but what he asked. Where's our wide receiver? We're good. Elijah, what's up?
Right.
You coming in?
Right. And the justification is going to be, well, we didn't want to tip our hand. What? Then why say that then? Why say that? You didn't have to respond to that at all. That's the part that killed me about all of this.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't have to respond to that part of their conversation. That was their conversation that they were having that really didn't reflect the sentiment that you thought it did when you got in and responded to it to begin with. So you were out of line. You come at them because you felt like they were out of line, when the reality of it is you might be coming off as a little more insecure than you needed to.
Yeah, I think No Bowen said Bean and McDermott just live together, but they see different people. It's probably about right.
Yeah, that's a perfect way to put it.
Right. Yeah, that's the imagery we're talking about. Yeah, I mean, I think you're right. I think they've been vested enough that they made a name for themselves. And whether they stay together or not, they both know they can move on and be their own man. So now, the vision doesn't have to be similar. It could be similar, but it doesn't have to be the same. And I think, with this Nielsen guy coming in, you're talking about a situation shift where either McDermott's going to hand the reins off to Babbage, or McDermott's like, you know what? Let's kick this up a notch. Let's kick it up. Because, if you look at the draft, they drafted the hell out of the defensive line. We know that. They drafted a different kind of defensive lineman than they usually have. Not Landon Jackson, because we have one of those on the other side. But, it still remains true. You built them to be speed guys. You built them to rush. You built them. You're not as worried about the run stuffing as you would hope, as I would like. But if you can get to the quarterback and you can disrupt things, you can make the quarterback uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I'll take it. That's when I say, you know what, let them run. Because guess what? If you're stopping them on third down and then you got the offense scoring up, 25, 27, 28 points a game, they can't run. They got to pass. They play right into what we're trying to do.
Exactly.
And I mean, it destroys everything that the Bills are trying to be weak at. And I think that's kind of what the Bills thought they were going to do. Force teams to pass the ball, but they forget you got to get past third down. You got to get past these other things to get to that point.
Right. You got to actually stop the run and force them to pass in order to get them.
Right. So once they figure that part out, I think they'll be fine. I'm not saying that part was keeping them from getting to the Super Bowl, was keeping them from getting past the Chiefs, but it's a step in the right direction, I think.
Yeah. No, I wholeheartedly agree. I mean, look, if you look at what the Eagles had and you look at what the Bills just did this offseason, I mean, they still have Jalen Carter, right?
Mm-hmm.
They still have Jalen Carter. They still got Jordan Davis, right? What did the Bills just draft? TJ Sanders.
Mm-hmm.
There's your Jalen Carter, right? Jordan Davis. Well, that's what Deion Walker is. And so when you look at the introductory stuff that Nielsen was doing, as you pointed out, with the stunts and twists and all that kind of stuff, I mean, this is stuff we've been calling for years. Yeah. We've been asking and begging for this kind of stuff because we know that these are the things that you can do to kind of spice it up a little bit, right. Throw the offensive line off a little bit. If the focus of your defense is going to be your defensive line making things, or I guess in a sense, your defensive line is activating the rest of the defense, then they need to be able to freaking activate. You know what I mean? You can't just say, all right, everybody rush in straight lines and do your best to get there.
Right.
Like that you can't do that anymore. Teams haven't been able to do that for years.
Right. Doesn't work.
Right?
Doesn't work.
And so you look at what the Eagles did, even though they had enough guys on their defensive line that were good enough to be able to just rush in a straight line and still be good, they decided, we're going to take it up a notch and we're going to start doing some different stuff. We're going to do some twists and some stunts with all these athletic defensive linemen that we have. And we're going to force that offensive line to work harder than they need to, put some real pressure on them to think and slow their game down so they can't just react to our rush. These are the things that I hope we see this year, because in my personal opinion, regardless of what we have at safety, like I truly believe the defense that we play can withstand Cole Bishop at safety and Taylor Rapp at safety. I think it can. With everything else that we have on this defense, when healthy, they can withstand not spectacular safety play.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? But in order for that type of defense to be effective in the playoffs, they have to be able to get consistent and constant pressure with the defensive line. They have to. You got to see that pocket collapsing instantaneously when that ball is snapped. If you don't, I don't think the secondary as a whole is good enough to shut a team down. We saw that last year. I'm not expecting Trey White to come in and be Trey White of 3 years ago. I'm not expecting Christian Benford to be so far and above and beyond his 3 concussions from last year. I'm just not. You know, I'm not expecting any of these guys to come in and be man coverage mavens either. Right? So what is that? What does all that say? Well, my point in saying all that is if you don't have man coverage ability from your safeties anymore, and you're not gonna get elite zone coverage from 3 out of the 4 guys that you're gonna have on the field in the secondary to begin with. Well, you got to make sure that defensive line is performing very, very well at that point.
Tommy Staples.
Tommy.
Yeah.
Appreciate you, bro. Thank you so much. So I mean, again, it's the one thing that I think the Bills have going for them is they're going to surprise the league on defense this year. If they're doing a lot of the stuff that, you know, you've seen and I've seen, they're going to have the effect on the league that their offense had last year, where they just kind of surprised everybody. Nobody had seen the 3-by-1 formations, and nobody's seen the, you know, 4 receivers on one side and the motions, you know, the orbit motions and stuff like that. They weren't doing a ton of that the year before, right? So my hope is that we surprise the league on defense with just how deep and how consistent it is.
Mm-hmm.
And then offensively, hopefully there's more 3 and 4 wide formations, right? And I think this is kind of leading into what I wanted to talk about with Keon Coleman and Kincaid while we're here.
Mm-hmm.
I think the tight end position in this offense in general needs an overhaul. Right now, this is the part where I play that. Stay with me now. Okay. Now here's why, and this is just an idea. I'm gonna, I guess, make a case for why I think it's a good idea, and then I'll wait for everybody to slam me in the comments.
It ain't me. Just remember, not me.
So when you look at the Saints offense, when Drew Brees was there and Michael Thomas was there and Alvin Kamara and Mark Ingram were the tandem, right? Mm-hmm. A lot of that offense really had nothing to do with the tight end,
right?
Yeah. At all, right?
Where's your tight end? Hurry up.
Exactly. So when you look at the offense that we run now here, it's a similar offense, mm-hmm. right? And they how can I say this? Based on what I've heard, mm-hmm. they want Keon Coleman to be that Mike Thomas role, right? Where he doesn't have to get separation. He doesn't have, they were talking about this on the morning show. Well, he doesn't mm-hmm. get separation. Well, he doesn't have to in that type of offense. He's great at slants, something Michael Thomas was really, really good at.
See, that's the thing. Okay, I'm not going to stop you there, but I'm going to stop you on that point because people talk about we don't separate all the time. We've already talked about, in fact, we do have separation. Josh Allen's like what did I say, the 3rd or 4th best separating, behind Lamar Jackson's 4.3. We had 3.6, so it's not that far off.
Right. And
so I want people that say we don't get separation, not Keon Coleman, don't use that one. What else you got? Because there's no other justification. Khalil Shakir is the number 2 separator in the league. Mm-hmm. Then you got other guys that are in that 3-yard range. So what are you seeing? Because I want to separate from I want to separate from the notion that what people that go on YouTube and GRZ and GR and WKBW and all these other outlets that have a name, that have a following, say, I want people that watch this show, I want people that join the Discord and follow us on X, whatever the case may be, to know that your opinion, whether it's right or wrong, is still valued. And take the chance to learn. So don't regurgitate the stuff you hear the talking heads say, because somebody's telling them to say it. It's just that their face is known, so that's why they say it. And then when you hear people typewrite what they say, you're like, okay, I've heard this show before. I've heard this news before. And that's why this show was great, because on here, you might have heard what we say before, but we didn't hear what we say before. We figured it out ourselves. We went to the thing and did the footwork. Right. So anybody in here that says the Bills don't separate, why? Tell me why.
Yeah. I forgot who. Oh, so Cato said Jimmy Graham was there. Actually, the era I'm referring to was the Michael Thomas era. Jimmy Graham was there up until 2014. Michael Thomas didn't get there until 2016. So during that time, they actually did not have a tight end. But
was it Taysom Hill?
Well, yeah,
who knows?
Yeah, no, probably. Who knows? Taysom Hill wasn't even a thing until 4 years ago.
Exactly. As a quarterback, somewhere.
Exactly. So, but again, the whole reason I'm bringing this up is to bring out why I think the tight end position is probably never going to be as important as we want it to be, even with a first round pick there, and even with the $14.5 million we're paying Dawson Knox. I think both of those guys are from two different offenses that are just kind of holdovers. You know, not Knox mostly because of his blocking skills and his relationship with Josh, and Kincaid mostly because he's a first round pick. And I don't think it would be terrible. Let me just say it like that. I don't think the world would end if we saw life without either one of those guys on being used to any degree. You know what I'm saying? And I guess the reason I say that is that would first and foremost further support my other idea that I think the Bills should run a 10 formation. You know what I mean? As much as possible. And they have the receivers to do it finally. But the tight end position as a whole has been something that's been kind of a, how can I say? It's been kind of a what's the name of that box? It's not Pandora's box. It's the box that they put the cat in, where you don't know if the cat is dead or alive. It's
Chat, help.
Yeah,
Chat.
help me out, Chat. I forget something Singer's box is something like that. But anyway, I think the tight end position as a whole is kind of like that, from the standpoint of you don't really know if Josh is told to not throw it to them because the plays are being called to other positions, or if Josh just isn't looking at the tight ends because he doesn't like throwing inside. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't know if it's designed or if it's just instinct to not go to the tight ends. And that could be from an OC standpoint, or it could be from a quarterback standpoint. But either way, these tight ends don't get used. And I think Buffalo it as a whole has kind of been that way ever since Scott Chandler left. That was the last great tight end we had.
Really?
Yes.
Yep. There it is. The last great tight end we had. There it is. He's finally done
Got
it.
him.
He's done it, folks. Roy, that was for you. And he said Schrodinger box?
Yes. Schrodinger's cat. That's right.
Oh, cat. Okay.
Schrodinger's cat. Thank you, Laura. Yeah, so I mean that's kind of the idea that I have surrounding the tight end position, and realistically the basis of this conversation, you know, from the thumbnail and all that, just talking about comparing the hype between both players, right? Because last we heard Dalton Kincaid was tearing up camp. I think he caught like 3 touchdowns on yesterday, right? And you hear that and you're like, man, against an improved defense, he's catching 3 touchdowns. He's healed from the injuries. He's going to be great.
You better not heel turn.
Yes, let's go. Let's go. I want to see it. I can't wait to see it. I'm buying one as soon as you come out with it. I know that. I'm gonna wear that joint every show in this piece.
You do that. You do that.
Yo, he gonna come here with some fake blood and just toss it on me. So when you look at the Kincaid hype and then you look at the Keon hype, the question I want to ask everybody, and I want to ask you this: which hype do you think is more likely to carry over into the season?
Keon. Here's why. Because Kincaid's hype is cute. It's cool. But what I missed now? Somebody say something.
No. I'm listening to what you said.
Oh, yeah, it's cute and it's cool, but what Kincaid is best at is what Josh isn't throwing.
Right.
So, Kincaid over the middle will tear you up. And I kind of answer, I think, Roy's question with this too. If Kincaid is healthy, I think he's going to get, I don't know, I'll say 45, 50 catches for 600 yards, and we'll give him 4 touchdowns. That's about what I think he's going to end up with.
Coleman, you talking about?
No, Kincaid.
Oh, Kincaid. Okay.
Yeah, Coleman. I see going. I was talking to somebody. I think Coleman is going to go, 60 to 70 catches for 700 plus yards, and we'll say 5 to 7 touchdowns.
Okay,
that's what I got for Coleman.
Yeah, I agree. I think it is Keon Coleman that I expect to kind of carry over all the hype and everything that he's been, showing in minicamp, and I think he's going to show it again through training camp, and it's going to carry over into the season. My basis for that thought though is Kincaid's rookie season. He did not get used until there were no other passing options that were viable at that point in time, right? Dawson Knox wasn't a part of the offense. If I'm not mistaken, that's right around the time where they decided they weren't throwing to Diggs anymore. Everything was going to go to Shakir, or it was going to go to the rookie, right? And what ended up happening after Dawson Knox came back? Dalton Kincaid just kind of vanished into the wind. You didn't see anything from the kid. Right now, it doesn't make sense for him to be as successful as he was during that run of getting all the targets he was getting, making the plays he was making as a rookie, to then just, well, okay, you had a nice little run there, but you got to go sit back on the bench. That I don't get that. I don't understand why at that point you wouldn't see the value in your first round pick and say, if he's making plays now, just let him go. You know what I'm saying? Like, who cares if he makes a little mistake? The benefit far outweighs the cost. You know what I'm saying? So when I look at that and I see, well, okay, he showed them something and they still didn't respect it. And then last year he deals with the injury. They don't even mention the injury until after they talk about he needs to get stronger and we need to see more from him.
Right.
Then they mention the injury, because, and here's why though, the thought process immediately becomes, when you talk about he needs to get stronger and he didn't play well, the answer becomes, or the question becomes, well, he's a first round pick, so what's wrong with him? Oh, well, he was dealing with 2 knee injuries. Oh.
Yeah, and it was funny. I don't know if you listened to the bean presser. Yes, I did.
Searching for content, probably.
No, I said if I got to watch Sean, I'm gonna watch Bean too.
All right,
so he said, when asked about Dalton Kincaid, he said it was more of an injury thing he fought through last year, nothing more than that. I was a little overcritical. Why are you walking that back? You had a hard, honest truth. It was an honest conversation. Don't walk it back. It was honest, right?
Exactly.
You can't walk back honesty. So whatever. He said he worked his tail off. Who doesn't in Buffalo?
We're all blue collars.
We're all blue collar guys. Worked his tail off.
Yeah.
He's one competitive dude. Who don't they say that about?
Right.
You have to tear him away from the locker room. Who don't they say that about?
You can't make it to that level without being competitive.
You can't. Right. It's like, okay, whatever. He said he added strength and bulk, but then they're talking to somebody else that he got pushed like clean off the field in a block somewhere. So like you can see the confidence in the knee. Good. But see, this is where I have grievances, because we're talking about blocking and this, that, and third, and just use him for what he does. You drafted him with a first round pick. You need to do everything that he's good at.
Thank you.
The opposite of what, who was it? Was it Bean? Or no, it was Jerry Ostrowski. He said, Coleman is said he's working on his weaknesses. He said, no. Ostrowski said, no, work on your strengths. because the weaknesses is what they are. But make your strengths better. See, that's what the thing I understand about when people talk about the players we have. It's always something that you didn't draft them for. They can't do this. But what can he do? Why is he here? If you can't identify why he's here, then you can't identify why that pick was made, and you can't back when they made the pick. But like I said, you're listening to talking heads again.
Right.
And so it was funny because when Bean was talking about Keon, did you watch that one?
Which one?
The Brendan Bean presser.
No.
He said Keon was too critical. He said he talked to his brother. He watched every game with his brother. He watched every game with people around him to be honest with him. What did you see? And that's when you heard the Keon presser. I don't know if he said it, and I didn't listen to that one, but he said, and Bean said, I had to tell him, you did a lot of positive. Don't just focus on the. He said, I said, why not? Why if he's mastering what he's good at, let him look at what he's bad at, so maybe he can add another trick to the tool bag. Because when Josh came back in 2020, it wasn't just Stephon Diggs. He had a lot to do with it. But what Josh did in 2020 was 2019. What did I do wrong? Let me clean that up. Yeah. Whether I think it was like hand placement or his step, his drop, whatever it was with his throwing motion. And he worked on his weaknesses. Exactly. He worked on his weaknesses, but he didn't work on all his weaknesses. He worked on touch one year. He worked on his accuracy one year. He worked on his throwing motion another year. And so you don't want to bombard yourself with everything you did wrong. Pick one thing that really magnified your deficiency.
And he did it in the offseason too, not during the regular season by playing another position that he had no business playing.
Right.
He didn't go into the offseason saying, man, I need to be able to block better on those read option plays. Right. Like, I got to go work out with the offensive lineman. No,
right.
No, you just get more accurate, dude. Put the ball where it's supposed to go and you'll be fine.
Right.
Heel Turn says you can't repaint a car without cleaning the surface first. Yeah, exactly. Bone says, didn't Keon get hurt the very next game after he went nuts in Seattle? Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was. But
here's a stat I wanted to bring up on that too. Because the Keon Coleman thing, for those of you that said Kincaid, I want to see if you change your tune after this. So we did a quick. I asked Key to bring up some quick stats on the change in the offense, because we know now that there was a change in the offense after week 4, and when Keon got hurt, he basically came back to an offense that was being called a lot differently. And you factor into that the addition of Amari Cooper. Like one thing I need to be understood about Amari Cooper, he did not have as much of an impact as everybody thinks he did.
At all.
Like the production he put up, the plays that were called for him. I think the Chiefs game is the biggest impact he had. Those 2 deep passes that he caught. You know what I'm saying? Those were necessary. Fine. I think Max still would have preferred losing that game and getting that karma to be able to win the playoff game. But still. So let me just get to this real quick. So the first 4 games, and I don't know if everybody was already aware of this, but the first 4 games, the Bills called the pass 48% of the time and called a run play 52% of the time. Those are the first 4 games, right? So those first 4 games would be, where is it?
I can pull it up if you don't have it.
No, I got it here.
Okay.
Oh wait, is that it? No, roster. Oh, here it is. Okay. So weeks 1 through 4, you had Cardinals, Dolphins, Jaguars, Ravens, right? So you went 3-0 right up until that Baltimore game. Now you're 3-1. And then week 5 after the Houston game is when they went and got Amari Cooper. Right. Okay. So the offense. So Cooper didn't start playing until when? The Titans game, I think, was his first game. I'm pretty sure the Titans game was his first game.
I was arguing with Spin in the comments. I missed him. Sorry.
No. You could. Spin will bring it out of you, bro.
I know.
He'll do it.
I'm just messing with him at this point.
Okay. So Amari Cooper comes in week 7 against the Titans. That's his first game with us. Coleman gets hurt in the very next week in the Seattle game, right? So to that point, after they got Cooper in here and he started learning the playbook and stuff like that, he had 2 weeks. No, I'm sorry. We got him after the Jets game, if I'm not mistaken. Like that same week, we got him. So we had him for about a week and a half. And then he plays in the Titans game. So then Coleman gets hurt in week 8. The last 13 games of the season, though, there was a shift in the offense, right? After we got beat by the Ravens, the Bills started going 52% pass and 48% run in those last 13 games, right? So I guess what I'm trying to bring out is this is further proof that there was a shift happening in the way the offense was called, and there was a shift in the routes that were being called as well, specifically for Coleman. So what we saw last year, I don't believe you can if you want to still, but based on what I've heard and you know what we've seen through research, Coleman's performance last year really didn't have a lot to do with him specifically. Now he'll take that blame, he'll take it on himself and say he needs to be better. Every elite wide receiver would say that, right? Every receiver in general would say that, but I believe Keon Coleman has an elite mindset that's going to lead to him becoming an elite receiver. But anyway, when you look at all of those factors, I have to believe that his rookie season could have been a lot better had he stayed in the same system with the same kind of calls that he was getting early on in the season that led to his best game being against the Seahawks. Because he didn't come back until when did he come back? After the Lions game?
Yeah.
Yeah, when did Keon come back? Help me out, chat.
I'm looking right now.
So I mean, just the I guess all of this kind of boils down to the main point, which is this to me is why I think Keon Coleman's production and hype and all that kind of stuff in minicamp is going to carry over more than what we've seen from Dalton Kincaid. I mean, Dalton Kincaid he's had a lot of plays called for him, and you can tell, right? But those plays specifically have not they haven't reaped a lot of rewards. So I think a big part of what has happened with Kincaid this season is probably more related to there being more of a threat on the outside than anything else. And maybe that's going to be something that could benefit Kincaid going into the season. But again, when I factor into all of that, the fact that the team really hasn't given Kincaid a full on opportunity to like just go out there and play in every game, and we're gonna focus on getting you at least 5 targets a game.
He was back for the Lions game,
right? So okay, so I was right. So he was back for the Lions game. So yeah, so again, this Kincaid thing to me is gonna lose traction, I think, in training camp. I think he's gonna go into training camp, and the same thing is going to show itself. The only thing that's going to help Kincaid this season at all is the presence on the outside, because there just wasn't that last year. So let me know what you think in the comments or in the chat. That's just my theory on the balance between, you know, who's got the more realistic hype going into the regular season. I absolutely think it's Coleman. I expect to see Coleman take a major jump this year. Even if they move him inside for a little bit, which, you know, I mean, there are no positions on this offense, but you know, I would like to see all receivers playing all different types of positions.
They'd be like, "What do you play? Offense? What do you offense?"
Well, only right, but only because they said that's what they said this was going to be. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, you can't tell me that there are no positions, and then when people talk about putting Coleman in the slot, well, you know, Shakir's been doing a great job on the inside there, and basically saying you don't really want to mess with something that's already been successful. Right. Okay, well, what about Shakir on the outside? We haven't even had a chance to really see him there yet.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So if this is supposed to be positionless football, why do you keep having two guys locked into two very specific positions, in a very specific area of the field? So again, I don't, things that I'm trying to understand, things that I'm trying to make sense of is really what this boils down to. And if it doesn't make sense, I have to ask why. Hopefully nobody takes that as me being negative.
I wouldn't.
Well, there's a lot of people that would.
But I mean, to Beth's point, I think that's, I don't want to say a misconception, but I think it is kind of a misconception because he missed a lot of time and he wasn't on the field for a lot of the biggest plays. So, I mean, he was on the team, and originally they put him on the team as a smoke and mirrors thing. But I think really it was really organic through who was on the field, which would be Keon, especially Shakir. But Shakir, his production was all on him. It really was all on him because he didn't get that 8-9 yard lead off before he catches the ball. He has to catch the ball and then turn it up and do stuff. Right. So if you let him be a real wide receiver, and this is obviously no slight on Khalil Shakir, but if you let him be a real wide receiver, I think you might be surprised at what he could do.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I think this year coming up, this is the one that we'll get to see a lot of things. And I think the people that, to your point when you said the people that said Kincaid, I think Kincaid's flame will kind of smolder and actually die out when pads come on, because they're going to be asking him to block. They're going to be asking him to do a lot of things that he can't do, but you don't do those things in minicamp.
Right.
You don't have, like Bean said it, he said it himself. They asked him in his presser, he said, what do you like to see the most? You spend all these assets on the defensive line, but what do you look at when you watch, he said, well, obviously I like to watch the hand position, the defensive line, offensive line, but this minicamp, he said, so I'm really watching the skill position because they're the only ones that can really do anything.
Right.
So what he's saying is they can get off. I mean, you look at this. Look, if you got Instagram and you follow any NFL medium at all, they say Shedeur Sanders went like 41 of 59 for 8 touchdowns. Who cares?
Yeah.
Do it when they have pads on. Ostrowski said it, and I think he knows something about playing football. I think he said, it's cute because they're not worried about getting hit. Not that they're gonna get. They're just not. They don't care because they know they're not getting hit. You can do a lot of things when you play flag football, when you play touch football. You can do a lot of, you leave yourself wide open. But when those pads come on, even accidentally in practice, that's how the guys get cleaned up because they're not expecting it. they're like, oh, this is a shell drill, and the guy doesn't pull up because he's trying to make a point, and that's the ribs right there. And I what are we thinking about Bosa? What are we thinking about there? Are we Bosa evidently said, he was happy to be in our system because now he can put his hand in the dirt again. Mm-hmm. He was always a 3-4 outside linebacker. That's not what he does. He said, I like playing the 6. And
well, truth be told, his rookie season, he was hand in the ground.
Oh yeah.
He didn't stand up until year 3.
Yeah. Well, what I'm getting at is with the injuries, and who's McDerman bashing Roy? You?
Oh no, even Spin said it. Spin said, what's going to be more, Coleman's hype or Aramis McD bashing this season?
Oh.
I guarantee it's going to be McD, but it won't be a lot because this is hilarious. This is a pretty easy schedule, and I don't expect to have to do that. So. This is hilarious.
Yeah, I can't kick him under the table when he's doing this. So there's a wall between us. So it's not possible. No, I Shenault definitely intrigues me a lot. But
how do you, real quick on Shenault, how do you see Shenault getting opportunities in this offense? Because there's literally in my mind anyway, there's way too many guys ahead of him, and there's a couple of guys that have a similar skill set to him, and Curtis Samuel and Khalil Shakir.
Say less. Shakir to me does it, but he does. I think he could.
Okay.
But he doesn't have the body of work on tape that Samuel does. And see, Samuel, that's the one right there.
Yeah.
Because if you cut him, you're in deficit. But
right.
If you trade him, you save, I think, like $7 million, and you're only on the hook for 1.7 or something like that.
I got it right here.
Yeah.
Curtis Samuel.
Pull up the trade. What a trade to do.
Curtis Samuel. So we're gonna go post June 1 cut. Or trade rather.
Yeah.
All right. So for Curtis Samuel, it's the dead money is 1.7, and I'm sorry, those would be the cap savings. The dead cap would be $7 million.
Wait, well, if he's traded now?
Yeah. If he's traded, opposed June 1 trade. I might be reading this wrong.
I think it's the other way. I think it's the other way because the dead cap should be 1.6.
It says dead money and cap savings.
Yeah,
so that's
yep.
respectively. Okay,
Yeah.
so then the dead money is 1.7, and the cap savings would be $7 million.
There you go. Yeah. So I think with what Chenault can give you,
who you trading?
Well, it was funny because I was watching Talking Buffalo and Pat Moreno was like, just give me like a 2033 7th rounder. I don't care.
Damn.
He said, I don't just do it. I don't care.
Right.
I'm like, wow, well, that's extreme, but okay,
Get him off the team.
Right. So, I mean, I get it when you're cap strapped and people, they're worried. I said this, I think I was talking to Nate last night and we were talking about the money and he said, are we worried about no, not really, because you got to remember, we have no money. Yeah. So they have to figure out how they're going to maneuver stuff to make even the draft picks fit when they sign in, because you got guys like Shamar Stewart. See my expert thoughts on that. But you got guys like that who you thought, and I didn't think that there was this much work involved in the signing of a slotted in pick. But there's guarantees. I didn't think about that stuff. So I guess there is other caveats to how the contract is made. But no, to bring it back to your question about the Chenault, I think Chenault makes it on special teams because his competition is Codrington.
Okay.
And I think that Chenault is a better wide receiver than Codrington is a better cornerback.
I agree with that.
So I think that might do it. And plus, everybody was talking about Codrington, but it was fun to watch. But really, what was it really?
Right.
What was it really?
Right.
So I think
it was me being pissed off that Daquan Hardy got sat down. That's really what it was.
So I think that's where we are right now. It's like, okay, we can use Chenault in that running back role. Especially if a Ty Johnson gets hurt, if a Ray Davis gets hurt, guess what? There's your bruiser. 6'1", 225, 230 right there. So and somebody else, no, we're actually in the same thing. We're looking at each other right now. I'm looking at right now. Somebody asked when I said I can't kick you under the table. Are you guys in the same house, different rooms now? We're in the same exact room, but the way the table is set up, it looks like we're not, but we are.
The entirety of our set is not like fully done up to do a full front on shot. So
watch this. I threw that. I just threw that.
Let me test this out myself.
There it is. But I don't know if I was talking, you were talking. I got caught up.
No, I think it was you. Let this. So Spence says Sanders is the only remaining rookie not signed yet, which shouldn't be a problem. Signing him, they just might need to figure out how to clear the cap space first.
It might be an issue because you got to remember Schlesinger and who was it? Schlesinger and somebody and who was it? Higgins, Jaden Higgins. They got a fully guaranteed contract as second rounders. That linebacker, Cleveland linebacker, and they're the second runners that actually got the fully guaranteed.
Yeah, just those two as far as I know.
Yeah, that's it. But is he holding out for that? Is he trying to get in that action?
The Bills will never do that.
We know that, but we know that. But
Bills will never.
But is he trying? I mean, that's one of those deals where if he doesn't sign, he'll eventually sign. But is he trying? I mean, because he's showing he's practicing. So like right now, like I said, let the business be the business. Yeah. They're on the field. That's all I care about. They can go have beer slushies now because training camp, mini camp is over.
Yeah. The other part of this too, it may not necessarily be just these players, sitting on their hands and waiting for the team to give them something they like. It could be them waiting for another player to sign their deal first so that they can get so that the agent can get a better idea for where their player, their client is going to slot in as far as the rookie wage scale. I know that happens a lot in the first round, specifically in the top 10. They kind of wait to see where, certain players are going to sign, and then they kind of judge what they're going to pay their guy based off of what, the person got paid before that pick and the person after, just kind of see what the range is. So some of these agents will tell their players, just wait, let's see what everybody else is getting. We may be able to get more from this team based on what other people are getting, and then go from there. So that may be what TJ Sanders is doing. He may be looking at, okay, well, there's two of these guaranteed contracts. Let's see what some of these other second rounders sign for, and then we'll, try and come up with a better number.
Yep. I mean, the business is gonna be the business. It's fine. It's all good. I'm not worried about any of that stuff. It'll work itself out. He'll turn to the Shavers, the new Duke Williams, where every year we want him to just happen. No.
Yes.
For you?
Yes.
Okay.
My God, I've wanted the dude to see the field, and the first time he saw the field last year, he scores a freaking touchdown. Get the man on the field.
No, Spin, you're right. You're right on that, and that's kind of what A's getting at, the guarantee, what they get guaranteed wise, as opposed to, just contract number.
Yeah.
No, for me, I don't care about Shavers at all. I really don't. I mean, it's not that it's nothing against him. It's not. I think he's a bad player, but if he doesn't make it, I'm not going to cry. I'm not.
But this year of all years with all the receivers we have, yeah.
They brought
if it was last year, I'd be pissed.
Well, I think last year, I don't know. I mean,
we just didn't have a lot last year.
Yeah, I mean, give him a shot, but I don't know. I don't think I'm married to like just one person anywhere. People think I am, but I'm not.
Well, I guess what he's saying though is when Duke Williams is here, he's one of those guys where you just kept hearing how good he was in camp and all that kind of stuff, and it's like, ooh, okay, pipeline of receivers, cool. Let's see what he's got. Give him a chance.
Yeah,
and they never did it until they absolutely had to.
Yeah, no. Well, in that regard, I think Shavers. Yes, man. That's what I said. I always thought, no, it's not fully guaranteed at all. Not even close.
No.
First round, I think the first 10 or something like that is supposed to be, but not even close. And that's what I'm finding out now. But yeah, no, Shavers is just a person that's trying to find a roster spot to me. And we all have our favorites. People cheer for Andreessen. People cheer for KJ Hamler. But
I gave up on that one. I wanted to see him on the field as soon as we got him too, but I was just like, nah.
I'm like, they make this dude a running back. We in there. Yeah. Oh, he's cut. He's on the practice squad. Okay, how's this work?
Right.
There's so many guys, but keeping with that thought, who is the person that you are most intrigued with now in terms of, I need to hear more about this player. I need to know more. What are we doing with this guy? Who, you might say Keon, which is fine. I don't know.
Jordan Hancock.
Okay. Yeah, because he was getting nickel slapped.
Yeah. I need to. I mean, if he's gonna be the heir of the nickel position in this nickel defense, I need to know what he's about. I need to see, how good he can play that position. Can he be as good as Taron Johnson? Again, I hate saying it like this, but I hope he's not. Because I want a third linebacker in there. I really, really, really want a third linebacker in there.
I want Dorian on the field, honestly.
Yes, bro. I think that linebacking core will be the dopest linebacking core in the league.
It'd be nice. It'd be nice to see.
Milano, Williams, and Bernard, bro.
It'd be nice to see. And if Milano can't go for whatever reason, you got Fascio. So yeah, I think that's somebody that you could say. But for me, it still is. After hearing about Dwayne or hearing about Keon Coleman, mine is Dwayne Carter. Still, I'm interested. I'm like intrigued with this dude.
I don't know why.
Because I'm just intrigued with this dude. Like, you pick him,
he gonna go the Harrison Phillips route.
Probably
he gonna be just good enough to be good his last year, and they ain't gonna pay him. He gonna go somewhere else to be a starter.
The thing is, like, can this dude be if he's Michael Hoyt? Can he play the end? Can he play? I mean, because he said his natural position, his natural size is 290-ish. He's playing like 310. He's too big.
Right.
But if you move him to 295, 297, I know that sounds stupid, but if you move him down there, he can play, he can play a 3-4-ish end, which will open up, a stand-up defensive end like Solomon or somebody like that. Or you could put him at defensive end and run concepts. Or
which reminds me,
stun him. What's up?
Why is Solomon here?
Because Von Miller was here. I don't know. I don't
realistically, why is he on the team? Why did we pick him?
I don't know.
If we are never going to see this guy aside from preseason, is his role specifically a preseason pass rusher?
He gets the Ashton Your Booty award.
For real? He
doesn't know. So
you should have known Ashton Ubodi.
No, I don't.
He was like, no, I don't.
No, I don't.
Don't ever put that in your mouth again. No, I don't.
So Ashton Ubodi was a cornerback that the Bills drafted, son. What year? What year?
It was 2006, wasn't it? Dante Whitner year or something like that?
What year was Ashton Ubodi?
Bro, that name is crazy.
It really is kind of. We really don't know how to say it. It might be Ubodi, it might be Ubodi. We don't.
It was definitely Ubodi.
Yeah. Okay, it was. Okay.
How like he's saying like his.
It's one of the two.
AOA, bro.
Hey.
So what year was he drafted? Third round. Yeah, 2006.
Ubodi. because
it's Youboty. Just so everybody knows, because that did bother me actually. People saying yo booty, like bro, like seriously, it like his name is phonetically spelled correctly. Like it exactly how you say it is exactly how it's spelled.
People call me Kevin. Keysatun Kevin. So I don't even care about phonetics. Throw that in the trash.
How do you even wait? Hold on.
I don't know. They weren't listening. Kevin. Who the fuck is Kevin? Do I even look like a Kevin? Paul.
Say your name again.
Kevin? No.
He will. Kevin's a white name.
Yeah, Renaissance said we all call them your booty.
Exactly.
I don't get why. I don't get why. Like if you look at the name, how can you see your booty?
Okay, Mr. Perfect.
It's not. See, this is the stuff. This is what I be talking about.
Let's see. We were
exactly
22.
Talking about.
We were 22. We had just learned what Smirnoff Ices were. Who knows what we were saying back then?
Just take a second to read. I don't even like reading all that much, and I can see that this is how it's spelled. Like, I get it. It's just like those are little pet peeves to me.
This
like,
man said reading. Hey,
we don't.
I'm a teacher's kid. You insulting me, Mama? Get him. And no, my name's not Kevin. My name's not Kevin.
You literally just threw at me. Oh, well, we were still learning the name of an alcoholic drink back in the day.
I didn't say that. I said we were drinking the alcoholic drink. 22, we were drinking that.
I get it. Still, like, put your glasses on, put the beer down, and just read the name.
Yeah, your booty just sounds cooler. Exactly.
Of course, that's what it was. Thank you.
No, you know what it was, honestly.
Right.
No, you know what it was for real.
What?
And this is no joke. He never made the team. He kept getting cut. Everybody thought he was trash, so they called him you booty. They said you booty. That's literally what it was. You booty.
Like his name, there's a YOU in the beginning of his name.
You booty.
But why say yo booty?
Well, I didn't get that one.
That's what I'm saying. Why not say you booty? If that would have been even better to say.
So basically, he got disrespected because he was trash.
Yes.
Spin gonna start calling me Kevin now.
So okay, so I guess to finish that story, so the reason we even mentioned him is because he was on the team forever and never got to see the field. But everybody always talked about him in training camp about how well he was doing and how he was shutting people down. Blah, blah,
he was trimming in preseason every year. He's the best cornerback shut down every year.
Never could get on the field.
Never made the team.
Him and his turtleneck.
The Merton Hanks.
Let's see here. So
there was a world back in 2010 when the Bills had Youboty and Ed Wang on the roster.
Ed Wang, that's right. I forgot about Ed Wang.
Yep. The first, I think, was he the no, he couldn't have been the
first Asian player ever drafted in the NFL.
Oh, he was born in Asia.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm about to say because Dat Win was before him. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
All right. I knew it was something.
Ask me if I know who he is, please.
Who? Dat Win?
No, Dak, because he
Ed Wang,
because he tried to ask me who the other player was. I'm like, who? You got like I know these players, man. I was young.
I guess I
was not watching football when I was young, bro.
Because I played Madden a lot. I just imagine you saw his name from time to time. I don't
even pay attention to
I couldn't read. He like, Dad, I was 3. I couldn't read yet.
No,
I was not paying attention. I was playing with toys.
I remember those days.
He was reading around that point.
Okay, but I wasn't paying attention.
Okay. You weren't paying attention. Fine. Jeez.
I remember.
Just don't ask me next time.
Oh, God. I never will ever again.
Right. You never say no.
All right. Tommy says the Bengals are in a hot mess right now with Stewart and Hendrickson. So I guess the reason I wanted to bring this up, I thought this was interesting. The Bengals situation is such that they have quite possibly the best trio from a standpoint of, wide receivers and quarterback. They have the best 1-2 punch at wide receiver in the league, in my personal opinion. Mm-hmm. Right? Eagles could probably have an argument in that. But I think right now it's the Bengals. So what's interesting in that team's correlation to the Bills is they have an owner who refuses to pay people, basically. He literally did not have a choice when it came to paying Joe Burrow. That's the franchise quarterback. He's a top 5 quarterback in the league. He brought them to a Super Bowl. He had to get paid, or else people would have ripped that franchise to shreds in Cincinnati. And Joe Burrow then takes his authority with his contract and his position now with the team and says, you gonna keep my guys. If you don't sign my receivers, we gonna have a problem.
Yep.
Period. Right?
Mhm.
So the owner didn't have a choice then either. Had to do it. Right? Now, the owner is not a broke owner.
Right.
No owner in the NFL is broke.
Mm-hmm.
It just really comes down to how much cash they want to let out. Right? Because the cash is what goes into the signing bonus and the upfront money that needs to go out to the player immediately once the contract is signed. So the cap hit portion typically for these contracts is the game check, right? But the signing bonus is like the upfront cash that has to come directly out of the owner's pocket. So if you're an owner that is very frugal, like the Bengals owner is, you're looking at Shamar Stewart and Trey Hendrickson like, my man, I just paid for these three dudes in the last 2 years. I'm tired.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to spend no more money, right? I don't want to do what it takes to make sure that I have a great team. Right. Regardless of what that means to you, I've invested in my offense, right?
Mm-hmm.
So here's the part where it gets interesting. The Buffalo Bills, from an ownership standpoint, has been all about consistency and winning. Right? So let's set this up. On one side, you've got the Bengals who are not willing to do what it takes financially to win games, right? And when I say financially, you got to pay your best players. You have to pay your star players, your impact players. Now, I would argue that the impact players on the Bengals are significantly better than the impact players on the Bills minus Josh Allen. Right? From a receiver standpoint, they have the better receivers. From a pass rusher standpoint, they have the better pass rusher. Right? Shamar Stewart, in my opinion, a better prospect, a better prospect than Maxwell Hairston right now. That's just my opinion. Anyway, when you look at what the Bills have invested in, they've invested in, here's where I'm going to make people mad. The Bills owner has invested in consistent and constant regular season winning. I think Josh Allen gives you that right off the bat, right? But the reason I say they've invested in consistent and constant regular season winning is, first and foremost, if you take Josh Allen off this team, how many games are they winning? Realistically.
16. No. Now go ahead. Go ahead. Make it quick.
So realistically, this team without Josh Allen, let's just say Josh gets hurt and Trubisky's got to come in and play. I think they are a 7 or 8 win team. Sounds about right.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what that also sounds like? Sounds like a drought team.
It's not like they still win a division though.
I don't know. Maybe I may be overestimating the Patriots this season. I think they're going to be a lot better under Mike Vrabel.
They will be.
But again, a 7 and 8 win, Bills team, yeah, they're going to be top 2 in the division for sure. Right? So what does all this mean? All of this is kind of pointing towards this point for me. When you have an owner that is not singularly focused on winning championships, it shows. It shows. You got an owner in Cincinnati who is unwilling to pay out money to his best, I would say his 4th best player on the team. Right? Jermaine Pratt left because he wasn't getting paid.
Don't get me started because we almost have to close out. We signed Shaq Lawson, Jermaine Pratt. The guy won it 2 years ago.
Yeah. So
Shaq Thompson. Did I see Shaq Lawson? Shaq Thompson. Don't add me.
I wanted Shaq Thompson 4 years ago. When he was a free agent, he ended up re-signing with the Panthers.
Mm-hmm.
But where are we? 722. Okay, yeah. So to me, when I look at the moves that the Bills have made, again, we keep finding ourselves in this situation of bringing old names back and thinking one of two things: either this is an easy transition for this player because they already know the system. We're not going to have to teach anybody. There's not going to be any gap in the performance. Or this is an old head that's coming here towards the downturn of his career, and he's going to be able to help these young guys acclimate to the system that much faster.
And and spend, just so you know, since he is unwilling, because they got $32 million in cap space. $32 million in cap space right now. So yeah.
They're like that. None of this is unfounded. None of it. It's all provable. When you look at the way the Bills have spent their money, right, on offense, about, let's see. So let's take it to the numbers, right? So the salary cap on offense is $157 million, right? And this year, about $36 million of that is on Josh. So that puts the offense and defense about equal. And this is before all of the draft picks signings, because I don't think the Hairston deal is included in here, and the TJ Sanders deal is not done. So anyway, all of this is to say, let me just check one more thing real quick. Yeah, 36 million. Okay, perfect. So again, when you look at the way that the money is spent, it's not spent on impact players that are going to come in and get the job done. This is a philosophy that Sean McDermott started with the idea of the Patriots model in mind. And there's proof. I have reports. There's all kind of stuff about, the Brandon Beane and Sean McDermott trying to get Josh Allen to do the TB12 method, and he said, no, I'm not doing that. Like that's stuff that I've heard from people on the inside. But again, there's a lot that you could look at to show that the Bills have tried to model themselves after the Patriot way. And it's primarily in the form of this culture that they propagate so much. But the point here is, I need to see. I need. You guys are more than welcome in the chat, in the comments after the show, to give me your examples of what you believe are examples or proof of the owner specifically making moves directly connected to championships, right? Because the last one that this team made directly connected to championships, and I hate saying it this way, it was Von Miller. That was the move that was supposed to be directly connected to a championship. But what was the mantra when they signed him? Let's run it back. Mm-hmm. Let's run it back. But even past all that, if you dig deeper, why did they want to run it back? Because they had no cap space. After the Von Miller deal, they had no cap space. They couldn't do anything else. They couldn't bring Von Miller in and move up in the draft and add this receiver here or add this whatever. They didn't have the space to do it because they were spending so much money on positions that weren't contributing contributing what they needed in order to get over the hump.
I just wanted to hit this real fast.
Yeah.
Spend that $100 million that you're talking about for Hendrickson doesn't go all into 2025, so it $32 million would still be there. Yeah, so I'm not sure what you're talking about, and that's not a derogatory or I'm sorry, a condescending way, but I'm not sure if you're talking about the signing bonus, but that doesn't all go into 1 year unless it's a 1 year $100 million deal.
Right. Laura says they didn't want to pay Jamar. He made them show him the money. I mean, T. Higgins didn't make him do anything. He was injured most of that season before he got paid. Mm-hmm. He still got the bag. Why? Because his quarterback said so.
Yeah, this is the last thought I have. Going back to Shamar Stewart, I was overjoyed that the Bills didn't have a chance to get him.
He's overrated?
He's severely overrated. 37 college games, only had 17 sacks. Last year he had 1.5 sacks. He galotted somebody when they played Tennessee. Remember the galata, the low blow, boxing low blow?
No.
Oh yeah. They actually put it on fight night.
I wasn't a boxing person.
No, I'm not either. They actually put it on fight night where like literally you like the ref turns his back and you like hit him like that. Yeah.
Wow.
In the giblets. Yeah.
In the giblets.
So Shamar Stewart goes on to say, if I don't get my money, I might go to be redrafted in 2026.
I'm sure that pissed you off.
Fool. You got drafted 17th overall.
Yeah.
You want to be redrafted. You think anybody's going to take you in the first round?
Why not? He got taken in the first round.
Because he's already shown his colors. He's already shown that he's a knucklehead, that he's out for something. He's already shown a negative intent. He loses money regardless of how he spends it. If he redrafts, nobody's going to take him in the first round. They won't. There's no way, because he's already shown that he's a problem. He's already spoken out in negative lights and done goofy things.
But isn't that the same mindset that soured people on James Cook?
No, because he's literally sat. People see James Cook said 15 million.
Yeah.
He said 15 million one time, right?
Right.
We've had 3 interviews with Shamar Stewart talking about, I just didn't feel like playing. I'm not coming because I'm here, but I'm not playing. I don't feel like it. They said, why didn't you go out? And he's like, well, I was gonna do it. Then I said, I don't feel like it. I'm not doing it now. No, that's nowhere near what James Cook did. James Cook said 15 million, and then the media spun it. Then the fans spun it, and you messed this all up.
Yeah, we're gonna be here too
long. You messed it all up because you do. How many times we say James Cook in the show, y'all? Exactly, and you did it. Damn it! But no, I mean, it's if we're gonna go that route, James Cook done more or said more, he has 2,000 yard seasons to put on his back. He has 20 touchdowns in 2 years, 16 in one season put on his back. So Shamar Stewart is going to come armed with that 1.5 sack that he had last year, and he's not going to have. You know what? You know what will change this though?
What?
Make your point, because I got a point.
I just think it's all relative. I mean, to be perfectly honest, everything you say speaks to they should pay James Cook, but the Bills aren't going to do it because they don't value the running back position the way other teams in the league are right now. So if that's the case, then we also have to assume that there's a team out there that's going to look at the Cincinnati Bengals not wanting to pay a player and say it's a Tuesday and move right past all of that and say, you know what, we think you're good enough to be the 20th overall pick. Come on over here.
Okay, yeah, here we go. Spin said, for instance, Allen got 147 million guaranteed. The owners need to put the entire 147 in escrow when they sign him, not just the first year. What year is that 147 counting against the cap?
Right, that's different. Yeah,
it's not counting against 1 year of cap. He's getting it up front, but he's not getting that in 1 year of cap.
Right.
It won't happen. It would implode every team there is.
Yep.
But I can tell you what wouldn't though. If Shamar Stewart went out and said, you know what? I'm here to talk, but I don't want to talk money. I want to talk Reese T.
You want to talk Reese T. Got to do it.
You know why I want to talk Reese T? I don't know if you heard about it, but have you heard? It's one part, huh?
It's crazy that you mentioned Reese T because Dad forgot something to drink on our way here to the studio, so he needed that Reese T to fulfill his thirst.
Yeah, but
you messed up my promo.
He was trying to help your promo.
He messed my. I was in the speech.
I was helping it out.
It's delicious, refreshing, healthy twice.
You know what, bro?
I don't want to do this no more.
Man, screw your promo
Damaris,
now, man.
he did it, not me. I don't even drink tea, but let me tell you, I'm gonna drink it after this, and it might be spiked with something that makes 5 ingredients. Thanks, Junie.
Done with this. Hurry up.
I do drink that tea, but what are you doing? Hell of a reason, because I can't now get a promo out because of Junie.
Oh my gosh, finish your sentence.
I did.
7:31, by the way.
I know.
Yeah, I know.
Well, Oli's gonna be here, so your outro is gonna be quick.
Yeah, it's got to be.
Get your case or individual. Get both. Why the hell not?
Why the hell not?
You won't be disappointed. What do I know? See for yourself. Obviously,
just buy the damn drink.
I don't know how to do it. I can't drop a promo anymore. So Reese T.
That's what
Click a link in the description and tell them Junie sent you.
I swear for goodness, dog. Dude. I'm outside, yo.
Key is absolutely done. All right, we got to get out of here.
I'm so done with this man.
I missed his final point there, and he had a great so I have stuff with you right now. I'm sorry, bro.
I had to throw it in there.
I did. To be fair, I let you go strong at the beginning of the show, right? I gave you your time. Like, go ahead, bro, get him. You know what I mean? But
that was 2 different topics. I ain't even gonna let me get that.
Yeah, man, I got your best interest in mind.
You said let him cook.
That's right. We got to do a shirt like that. We got to. All right, look, if you've enjoyed everything you heard today, you're probably not a real person. But but if you like the flow of the show, if you enjoyed your time here to any degree, supporting the show is free. All you got to do is click that subscribe button, or you can click the like button. Both help us out. We greatly appreciate that. If you do, could you also do us a favor and hit that bell? Make that thing
ring-a-ling-a-ling. No, I'm reading the comment because he said he ruined that perfect ad read, and Yep.
I was trying to advertise.
And then you know what he did? No, you know what he did? Then you gonna put me on camera. I'm doing a mega swing. I'm like, this is two-handed. I'm like, I look at him on the camera. I'm like, what's going on?
That's what you get. That's what you get. That's what you get.
He set you up nasty.
That's what you get. For doing me like that. My job is to give you a promo at the beginning for do your read.
No, I can't
Is
do
it
it.
not?
I can't breathe.
Keyshawn, is it not supposed to be like that? How dare you come at me like that? I'm not a producer in this joint.
Yo.
What's wrong with you?
Oh my God.
That was wrap this up, man.
All right. Look, we got. Oh man. We are dropping the first episode of our new Madden content. It is week 1 of the 2025 preseason. And that's where we're going to start with the Madden content, right?
Yep.
In this scenario, these Madden videos that are coming out, I am the head coach. Key is the GM. Ayo producer is the owner of the team.
You know it.
We are going to run this joint the way we think it should be run, and let's just see what happens. We get that as Madden, but let's have some fun with it. It's the off season. Let's just do something to have some fun. You got to be a member to see that, though, right? Membership is only $1.99. That's the cheapest YouTube will let us go. I was trying to get it down to 99 cents. It just won't let you do it. So if you haven't done so already, we had 2 people join our membership today. Thank you very much to FH and Thomas. I'm surprised I remember those.
Good job.
Yeah. So look, join in there. If you have questions,
send the info. Hurry up. Send the info.
If you have questions on how to get in, you can hit us up in the email. I put that in the chat earlier, so you can go scroll and grab that, or you can hit us up on social media. Other than that, we got to jump ship. Okay, Basketball Truth and Knowledge. Junie's got his own podcast. He's also got his gaming channel, Babyface Assassin 21, on Twitch and YouTube. Check him out. This has been the Post Podium Podcast, home of the All Truth, No Sodium takes. I've been your co-host, Aramis.
For the keys.
Producer in the building. Yo.
All right, y'all have a great night. Peace.
Deuces.